Hello. There we are. Hi. Okay. Hi. Anyways, yes. So, hi, Bunny. How are you? Got it. I got it. Um. So yes, are some new developments. If my sound is off, I'm waiting for a cord to come in. Can you guys hear me now? Maybe. Don't make me sing to you. Do not make me. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Okay, we're here. Trust me, I promise you don't want it. If there are some things off with my sound, please be patient with me. I'm waiting for a new cord to come in from Amazon so that I can use my in ears, but I can't hear anything from my computer. So it's making things a little bit more difficult. Yes, so there's one new development. But hold on. So there's one new development, and then I wanted to go through the comments, but because I logged out, now I forgot my password and now I got to log back in. So give me 1 second. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Just to let you know, I am currently editing my Brian Koberger uh, um, video. So that should be up within the next week. And then I believe I'm waiting on the vote, although I need to start doing research because I'm only one person. So and I'm trying to get a video out every week, and it's been I mean, it's been going well, but I have to constantly work. So when I am doing the I do a video, I put it out, I do a live stream, and somewhere in between there, I start doing my research. And a lot of people have voted for Madeline McCann. So I think that might be the next one that we cover. And honestly, I don't know too much about that newer subscriber and definitely wishing you more subs. Thank you. I can't talk. I appreciate your perspective and style. Thank you. Um Hold on. I'm trying to What's my password? For real though, what is my password to YouTube? This is not good. Wrong password. Use your passkey. Can I just do that? Don't I have a Oh, I do, and I can use my phone. Thank you for everybody coming in. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to come in, and then we're gonna get started. And hopefully I could sign into YouTube because one of the things that I want to do is also go through the comments on my latest video. You guys have been honestly like I can't believe this journey. This journey is going so incredibly well, and yeah, I just you guys have blown me away. I should have had this done before I got on, but I was like, oh, I'll just go on early. Everything will work out. Not with Mercury in retrograde, that's for sure. Hold on, I'm coming. Can you just let me be a person? Hi, Jess. How are you? Use Face ID. Oh my God. There's my face. And it still asks me for my passcode. I hope you guys tired. How is you? Good, good, good. I'm doing okay. Um, just so you guys know that my live streams will always be sort of a mess because I am an old lady when it comes to tech. So let me open my comments here, and we'll go through those. Glad to hear. Glad to hear you're here, Jess. Glad to see you. Glad to see you all. Okay, so the new development that we have in the JonBenét case is that there's actually a letter that came out. Now, I want you to know that the two sources that I was able to find this from have come from the Daily Mail and the Sun. So we're going to take this with a grain of salt. However, I have to tell you, this is making me feel a certain type of way, and I don't like it. Now, I'll give you guys a little insight to if you're new here or if you're watching for the first time. When I did my JonBenét Ramsey video, I had a very clear picture before I walked into it of who I thought that the killer was and how I thought that she had passed on. I need to stop saying ums. I should have an counter, actually. That's what we should do. I'm going to make a bot that does that, and we'll have a little counter. So I had a very clear picture in my brain of what that whole crime looked like. New developments on alive. I got my coffee. Oh, what kind of coffee? I have my It's a very full green tea. Number one bowler. Because I am, in fact, number one bowler. There it is. Where's Mr. Pike? I need him to make me an counter. So then I watched the newest documentary because I started getting into this and I knew that it was going to be big, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna watch this, and if you guys have watched some of my older content, I had done a Scott Peterson case, I had done the Lacy Peterson case, and I watched those documentaries and then I gave my opinion on them. I'm thinking about doing 2 series, right? One that's more refined, which is what you guys are used to right now. It's just a more refined storytelling, exactly what, like, unbiased perspective and what the story is. And then doing another series where I react to documentaries and things like that. I reacted to the Scott Peterson documentary. I sort of want to react to the Casey Anthony. I have my thoughts, but I would like to react to that. Espresso instant coffee with maple creamer in a Sailor Moon cup. My wife got me so exciting. That sounds cute. I would have an espresso, but I had one this morning, and I have to limit myself because my anxiety is high. So, little ASMR for you guys. So here's the thing. Like I said, before I did the case, I had a very clear picture of who I thought was responsible for this crime, like, in my head, and what it looked like. I think your channel is going to explode with subs soon. Your videos are so well made, edited. Love how you tell stories. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know what? This is a work of passion. This really is. It is like I'm a mom of 2. Okay, so see, this is how we get on this, and then I'm never actually going to get to the topic. But whatever, we'll talk. So I'm a mom of 2, and my son is going to be 8 at the end of this year, and my daughter had just turned 5. We found out at 2 years old that my son he has autism spectrum disorder. As of right now, he's emerging verbal, but still considered nonverbal. He can get across his hello from Greece. Hello. He can get across his wants and his needs and tell you he's hungry, or maybe what he wants on TV, or, if he wants something in particular, but he can't have a conversation. He can't tell you how he's feeling. And it's been a very different journey. I had absolutely no exposure to people with autism like my son. So for me, the only exposure that I had to children with autism were the far extreme. So when I had my son and they were like, yeah, we think, he's on the spectrum and we think that he's autistic, I was like, what? Like, it didn't make any sense. And he was so young and he was so little. When we started getting him speech therapy, at about 16 months old. Just by an accident. It just so happened we took him to the pediatrician. He wasn't talking. And also, if you guys want me to stop talking to myself and go to what we were supposed to talk about, let me know. Just tell me to stop in the comments. But I also feel like this is a chance for you guys to get to know me, which I think is really fun because my videos are less personality based. And this is a good way for me to connect with you guys. Too much coffee gets the anxiety gremlins. Oh my God, I love that. Anxiety gremlins, way too excited. I have anxiety too, so I get you. Yeah. So, dear sweetheart, my 9-year-old has ADHD. Oh, me too. Same girl. Okay. I have it as well. And we believe she also has a bit of anxiety. It runs in the family. Have it. My mom's sisters have it. My mom too. Yep. A lot of people have it. Great channel. Hi. Hang in there. It'll get better. I'm a BCB and love doing what I do. What's a BCB? What's that? BCBA. I still don't know what that is. Anyone tell you that you resemble Lacy Peterson, and that's not a bad thing? She was beautiful, and Merry Christmas. That is honestly such a comment. Whoa. Oh my God. Mountain. Awesome channel. Merry Christmas. I have to go back to work. God bless your son. Thank you. Mountain. You are so, how can I put these up on the screen? I can never put these up on the screen. I don't know how to do that. How do I can block you. I can put you in timeout, but I can't I can't like put it on the screen. I'm so sorry. Mountain, thank you for the super chat. Am I late? No, I'm early. Yeah, so I'm early. That's great. Board certified behavior analyst. Wow. That is a lot. Board certified behavior analyst. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so my son works with a team. My son's in what's considered a modified learning program, and he has one teacher, and then in his classroom he has 3 TAs. I think there's only 8 kids inside of his classroom, and then he has a team that is a occupational therapist, speech therapist, behavioral, like social emotional therapist, and specialize in children with autism. Oh, you're doing the Lord's work, honestly. So I find out. So, all right, let's go back to the beginning. So my son is 1 year old. He's not saying any words. And then we heard him say goodbye one time, and he sounded like he was hearing impaired, like it was almost caught in his throat. So somebody had said you should take him to an ENT. So we did that, and we found out that he actually had fluid in his ears so bad that when they took it out, she was like, it was like mud. Oh, did I miss anything? No. Nobody missed anything. I don't actually officially start the stream until 1:00. So now I'm just talking about myself. I'm talking about my kids. But so then he is able to hear, and then we're getting him the speech therapy. He had gotten tubes in his ears. He's got tubes in his ears twice. And this has really opened me up to the world of autism. I now understand, right? I understand autism, and going back and looking at videos of my son and, understanding him when he was very little, I completely understand. I was like, yes, he's autistic. But at the time, because I had no experience with children on the spectrum, I was like, there's no way. He's a regular kid. And then some lady said to me, if you've ever met one child with autism, you've only met one child with autism. And I wanted to punch her in the face because I'm like, what does that mean? And now 8 years into it, I'm like, hey, you ever met one child with autism? You met one child with autism. Like, no child is the same. Since Netflix ran that miniseries, it brought me back to the case, so many other theories, but none ever proved. I think the DNA has misled everyone. You know what? Tommy, I gotta say, I believe in this case, I feel like the DNA is almost like a red herring. Like I don't know. Glad you're doing early intervention. It makes, oh, yes. The professionals told me that my son would never, they're like, just don't be surprised if he never talks. And we I don't know. I don't want to say we hold him to a high standard. We hold him to the standard that we would our children. Like, we hold him to that standard, and we know what he's capable of, and then we know what he's not capable of. And he's like every other child. He just can't get his point across, and he is working so hard and doing all the work. And I wish you know what, part of me, I'll always keep my kids offline because I respect their privacy, but part of me wishes I could share him with the world because he is just so sweet. He cannot communicate verbally, but he communicates through hugs and kisses and face touching, and and he's so handsome. Hi, Melly, you're new. Hello. My son's cousin is also nonverbal. He's a lot older, though. I think he's 5 or 6. Oh, my son is 8. I just went back to the beginning because I talk too much. Hi. Yo, hi, how are you? I had tubes in my ears too as a child. For me, it was because I had ear infections. So he never had ear infections, which is so weird. My daughter has the same ears also. Oh no. He's nonverbal but still communicates. So my son is considered now, to the broad collective, right? If I were to tell somebody, if I were to explain to somebody who doesn't know my son, he's considered nonverbal. Yes. However, he can, like, if he wants water, or he can non-verbally communicate, right? He can pull you to something. He can point to something. He could tell you what kind of food he wants. But as far as like a two-way reciprocal conversation, he cannot have that. And so he is considered on a standard as nonverbal. He does a lot of vocal stimming. He's a sensory seeker. So we have our house set up. We got swings, we got trampolines, we got, what do you want? You want it? We got it in this house. This house is set up for my son. All the other kids come over and they're like, oh my God, your house is the best. And I'm like, oh my God, my son's autistic. Like, I don't think our house would be the same. Maybe it would, but we just set the house up for his sensory needs. And then all the other kids from the neighborhood come over and they just absolutely enjoy it and love it. Could he use sign language to help with communication? Do you think your child has autism because his parents were highly intelligent? Maybe. It's so funny because the doctor, I don't know. I don't know. The doctor was like, just know you have an above average child when he did like all his testing. And I go, cool, because he's got 2 average ass parents. So I was like, oh, I hope I can help him with that. Could he use sign language? He has used sign language before. We actually just got him a talker inside of a school to see if he could start to understand like pictures. And if I were to be like, oh, I don't even know, like, Max, how are you? And then he could look at a picture of happy, sad, or whatever else, and then he could pick those in between there. But because he's emerging verbal, we wouldn't rely on the communication device. He could just press it, and then he'll also, it's called echolalia, but he'll actually repeat something that you say. So if I'll be like, hey, we call him Moose. So I'm like, hey, Moose, go get your coat. He's like, Moose, go get your coat, but he doesn't understand how to use those things in context. The games played prior to that night point to the Father John. What do you think of that theory? The games? Who's Dr. Cyril Wedge? I'm going to Google that. I'm going to copy this. Copy pasta. All right. I see you guys want me to get to the actual point of this video, of this live. Let me just tell you, okay? I have a neurodivergent brain and I'm also a Gemini. So I will be on one train of thought and then my brain like just shatters into the multiverse of madness and I just go 35 different ways. So if you guys want me to stay on track, you're going to have to help me, okay? Let me see. Google paste. JonBenét. Benedict. No. JonBenét. All right, let's see here. By Charles Bosworth. Is that what you're looking at? What are you looking at? Profile. Nope, this is about nursing. Oh, yes, he sounds like an adorable sweetheart. You're a great mom. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He's incredible. He works so hard and he tries his best. That's ADHD superpowers. Yeah. Sure. Tell my husband that. My husband's like, can you finish anything? And I'm like, no, I can't. Not even a thought. Were they playing Clue? Okay, so let's talk about what we came here today. And if you guys have any questions and you guys want to talk about anything, you let me know. Hello, Nietzsche. How are you? You guys let me know about that. I'm going to turn on some music. I need some beats. Need to hear some beats. Just something. I need a little something in my ear. Lighten the mood up a little bit. Turn that down a little bit. We don't need it jamming that much. Okay, so in today's video, the reason that we're here today, oh my God, it's still early. Technically, I was going to start the stream at 1 o'clock, but look at us. I'm a Capricorn and my brain is very slow. My son's a Capricorn. But you are very slow and steady. I need some of that. I'm not sure I even have Capricorn in my chart, to be honest with you. It's like all the earth signs saw me and they were like, no, hiss, nay, nay. No. My wife tells me that as well. I just remind her it's my ADHD superpowers and she just chuckles. I get it done just, at my strange pace. Yeah, I'll get there. Maybe eventually. Okay, so I want you guys to take this with a grain of salt. I found this on the Daily Mail and I also found this on the US Sun, which I believe is a tabloid of some sort. And this really made me feel a certain type of way. So obviously we've talked about the JonBenét case. And we've talked about the fact, okay, getting back, see, now I have to go back. When I first covered this video, I had a clear idea of who I thought it was. And then I came down the rabbit hole that is JonBenét Ramsey, and I heard all the theories, and I saw all the evidence, and I watched the documentary, and I trust detective. Blame it on ADD. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing here. I trust Detective Lou Smith. I don't think he would get into something to... I don't think he would get into something to like make it look a certain way. I think he was doing his job and he saw it differently. I read somewhere that if we're lucky enough to ever uncover what really happened, this case might not be as complicated as it seems, and everything will eventually make sense. I don't disagree with you. You know what? It's probably the easiest of the theories or of the scenarios, and this case got botched every single way that it could. Honestly, from start to finish, this case was wrecked. And I think that's what leaves it open for speculation, is there's been so much time. It's hard to weight the various circumstantial elements. Exactly. The theory was that John was playing... you know what? I've heard that theory. The problem with something like that, or stating something like that, is the fact that we have no clear evidence, right? And we have to go by evidence-based, is what I'm trying to be as biased as possible. And you can hear all these theories and you can hear all these things and people can write all these reports, but where is the evidence? And when we're talking about different things, I don't want to throw out accusations about a 6-year-old being assaulted if it's not true. And I don't want to blame a parent or an individual for something like that if it's not true. And that's where I'll stop that. Everybody's got their own ideas on how they want to speculate and what they want to believe, and that's fine. But me personally, if I'm going to take in that information, I need to have a credible source that is where we're finding that information. Who is the guy? Because I don't believe the lady, because the man had to have known her. Wait, what? I believe John Mark Carr, I believe, okay, this is all my opinion based. That's why the channel's called That's My Opinion. I believe John Mark Carr is probably guilty of some other things. But they couldn't tie him to this case. He was not in the state at the time. He was in Georgia, I believe. Watch the video in the below link. You can't put links in my chat. I have it set up that way because some people like to get weird. The problem with this case like this is there's so many famous, some chaps want to involve themselves for their 15 minutes. Yeah, at the point there's no outcome that would surprise me. I think the only outcome that would surprise me is the fact that they could solve this case at this point. That would be that would be shocking. I think. So there's that. My daughter wore my glasses and I can see all her tiny little fingerprints all over them. Look up Sarah. Okay, I will. I have it up here, but I can't find like what it's when I put in that to JonBenét Ramsey. I'll have to look deeper into it. Allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah. So anyways, all right, let's get into this. But okay, so let's go to a case. I don't know if you guys know about Madeline Soto right now. Let's get into that real quick because I am going to cover that case, because that case, when I tell you as a mother, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get through that video as unbiased as I've gotten through some of these other videos. I have my thoughts on that whole thing. Deathbed confession. Yeah. I mean, if it was them. Hi, Bacon Bears. I hope you're well today. Hi. Did you ever hear of the Gary Oliva guy wrote letters to his friend about killing JonBenét? I have heard the name Gary Oliva. Who is that? The guy that was living in his tent? I also know that there's another guy that like frantically confessed to not doing anything to her after she had passed away. He was like, I didn't do anything. And everybody's like, bro, nobody said you did. Like, suspicious man that would watch your pageant shows. Can't recall where I heard it. I don't know. I heard that it was actually one of the photographers. But anyways, okay, so JonBenét Ramsey's father, so John father, received a bombshell letter naming his daughter's killer after Netflix. No, Mr. Pike, please. Please. I showed up early just so I could have 30 minutes to talk about myself. I still have 6 minutes left, so. So you're doing great. So the thing about this is he does the Netflix thing. It comes out. I have to say overwhelmingly when you're on TikTok or when you're on YouTube or any of these social platforms, I would say that the overwhelming response is not happy with the Ramseys right now. Don't even get me started on Jennifer Soto. Because, girl, I have thoughts. I have so many thoughts. Ooh, June 7th. I'm June 11th. What? Jupiter and Gemini this year. The Santa guy who said, so the Santa is McReynolds. What's his first name? I just did the video. Bill McReynolds. I was like, what is his name? Yes. Yeah, anybody who's willing to cop to a crime they didn't commit, I don't understand that logic. I do not at all. But anyways, okay, so we're going to read this. We're going to take it with a grain of salt because it is the Daily Mail, and we're just going to go ahead. So, in the wake of the explosive Netflix documentary about hashtag arrest Johnson. Hashtag. I love it. We are supposed to believe that the intruder knew the house better than the housekeeper. That they found that one. Okay. When it comes down to that house, I would like to go into that house just to get a better understanding about the layout. I have no desire to go like ghost hunting or anything like that. But just looking at the layout of that house is so confusing. So wildly confusing. And yeah, I believe that whoever was in that house knew that house well. Definitely knew it well. That's for sure. JonBenét Ramsey's father, John, has received a letter from a woman claiming her ex-husband is the daughter's killer. Oh, yeah, the Santa guy, he did ask for his ashes to be mixed with glitter that JonBenét had given him. Strange. But I don't think he would have done something that terrible to her. I remember hearing that. And that makes me feel icky inside. Based on... Oh, John Ramsey said he immediately followed up on the tip, but is yet to hear back from the mystery sender, he told the Daily Mail. Based on all this publicity, I recently got a letter from the lady saying my ex-husband's the killer and I've kept this inside for as long as I can. Please call me, said Ramsey on Tuesday, 9 days before the 28th anniversary of the killing. We reached out to her, but she didn't answer the phone, so I don't know. We've shared at this point with a private investigator. Why wouldn't you bring it to the police? Why wouldn't you make a copy of that and bring part of it to the Boulder police? It's interesting. I mean, if you're really trying to catch, I mean, I understand that he probably doesn't trust the Boulder police, but if you're trying to catch the person at this point, don't you want everybody helping? She's full of it. Well, we'll find out, won't we? What is done in the dark will be shown in the light. Yeah, we hope so. They knew that. Tommy. It's all speculation. 6-year-old JonBenét, whose beauty pageant photos would become almost instantly recognizable internationally, was found. Okay. Yes. So here's the thing that I have about this, though, is the interesting thing to me. Okay, I really believe Okay. But, Kim, okay, I understand what you're saying. And I hear you. I see you. I hear you. But here's the thing. I need to know, do you believe it was an accident or do you believe it was intentional? Because we can go down this rabbit hole all day. Girl, let's go. Let's go. Buckle your seatbelts because we're going to go. The ransom note. Just, I can't. Even trying to read it. So I actually filmed this video before the one that I put out, and I tried to read the ransom note, and I couldn't even get through it. Was it ever established if Burke was up late playing with toys? You would think he would have seen, heard something, or given the note. Given the note movement, I find it odd. So let's talk about that, actually, Chris. So Burke Ramsey was actually on a Dr. Phil episode where he admitted to getting up and sneaking downstairs to go play with his toys. Then if you watch the Crime Junkie episode, actually, do you guys, I mean, it's a little longer than I have, but are you guys interested in watching the Crime Junkie episode? Because we could just do that if you guys want. But I remember seeing a part in there where she brings up Burke and going downstairs and asking, did you ask him if he saw it? And he's like, no, we never asked him. What? Your son, what? Your son went downstairs on the night that your daughter passed away, and you've never, 30 years later, you've never asked him what he saw? Too hard for it to be from a 9-year-old. So, okay, hold on. I'm getting from chat. John Andrew Ramsey was there. Patsy unintentionally. Whoa. It was an accident. Hello. Hi, Thomas. So here's the thing. Okay, so I'll put that on then. We'll watch that next. Hold on, let me get that set up and we'll watch that together. Oh my God, so fun. She was hit too hard. So I have to tell you, I have a flashlight. And after I went to that theory, I grabbed the flashlight. And I have to tell you, these flashlights are super heavy on one side, like a baseball bat. So just imagine if it was an accident, right? And he was above her, like let's say she was sitting on the ground, and he even went like this, not even hard. The heavier weight, I feel like, would bring it forward, and would, if it hit right, if it hit on the corner, I believe it would be able to do some like substantial damage. An interview with Burke that said, I know what happened. What? No. In a fit of rage, John... Whoa. I am not used to this many people in my chat. Hello, everyone. So he didn't want to get caught. Allegedly, John was playing... Oh, yeah. Okay, we have that. With rage, it is all possible. It looks like a 3-cell mag light, which is very heavy, and they're very top heavy. That's crazy, was never asked. All right, so let me pull this up. Let me pull this up and see. Let me turn my music. Where's my music? Where is it? Let's get rid of that. All right, let's get rid of my music. Let's go to YouTube, and we'll watch this crime. Reagan, how are you? It's so nice to see you. I don't know why. Wait, you're Batwoman? Yes, I am. YouTube.com. Also, guys, if you're new here and you are here for the live stream, welcome. This is not my normal content, but I like to go live to get hang out with you guys and not be able to stream like a regular person. If you guys want, go ahead, subscribe. Hello. Hi, I'm the star of the show. Knock it off. Also, we have memberships and cool, fun stuff like that. So congratulations. Let's see, Burke. Well, I don't want to speculate on Burke's behavior. You know, some people are different. Some people don't. I don't know. The interview. Oh, right. That he was with the child psychologist. Yes. Okay, let's look for Crime Junkie. And let's go to the one with... Okay, you guys want to... Okay, so we're going to watch the exclusive with John Ramsey. Let's pause it. Whoa, pause. Whole family is sussy. All right. I haven't done this yet, so just let me know how it goes. All right, let's see. Okay, we know how this starts. Just subscribed to your channel like a week ago. Thank you. JR was not an ATL. What? John Mark Carr? They said that he was definitely not.
To start, I feel like there is this perception that when you do kind of interviews that they're very orchestrated, or there's this party line and they're like, oh, John's so composed, or it's John's tales. And we reached out to you. There is no off the record on it, like you told me.
I've done a number of interviews.
Okay, so I want to talk. I want to talk. I'm sorry if I'm going to stop this, but the hit on the head was after she was gone. There were only 7 cc's of blood found at the time of the autopsy, which would suggest that she asphyxiated before, the head wound. However, I also think it's very odd that she has her date of death is not correct on her tombstone, and she passed away, right, on the 26th of December at that night, but on her tombstone, they actually have Christmas. So I'm wondering, what if the house was not the crime scene? I also find it very funny or very interesting that they are not friends with the Whites anymore. There was like a huge falling out between the Ramseys and the Whites
Over the years, and my main reason for engaging the media is to keep pressure on the police to do their job. And I've never wanted the questions in advance because I want to respond spontaneously. If I have a made-up answer, then I'll think, what was my answer for this question? I'd rather just, ask the question and I'll spontaneously respond. And it could be, when did you stop beating your wife? And no boundaries, on the questions.
I got lots.
And I don't agree with that, because I've seen some parts in here where he actually gets. Somebody had told me, they were like, he does interviews, you should ask him. I'm like, he wouldn't want to interview with me, because I wouldn't stop. I would just keep pressing. Why does this make you? This has oddly made you have a visceral reaction. You've oddly feel a certain type of way. Why is that? Let's go. Like, you can't stop.
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
Me too.
And so it's easier for me.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
almost
the
like I
lighting
don't
in
have
this
to
video.
prepare.
Ideal. Well, I did prepare for the both of us.
Okay, good.
JonBenét, she would be.
Yeah, it's a good point, Teresa.
Like, she would be almost my age right now.
Yes, I realize that.
And what is that like? Like, what is she, when you picture her, she's stuck at 6, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. She's still my little girl, and I can't imagine what she would be like as an adult.
Do you feel like you're ever stuck in 1996?
No. I've learned 2 things. One, life's not easy all the time, and life's not always fair. And it's like, okay, those are the game rules. Let's keep at it. And one of the things I've noticed with families that have lost a child, and I've looked at this in some detail, I don't know what the percentage is. It's a majority percentage end up in a divorce. And for Patsy and I,
So my grandparents actually lost 2 children within 2 years of each other. Very horrific, and I think they were the opposite, because they were. I mean, honestly, they shouldn't have been married as long as they were, but it was just one of those times where you never got divorced, and you stayed together. And also, I think there was this weird trauma bond that they had together, and it was it doesn't just affect the parents. I never got to meet my aunt or uncle. My uncle died when he was 5 years old, and then my aunt had died when she was 18 months old, and they were very close together. And I came much later, but there's this cloud that hangs over the family. Like, we know that they exist. We know that they were here. We don't ever really talk about, like, it's a very weird elephant in the room all the time for your whole life. The maid said Burke would wake up in the middle of the night and often did whatever he wanted. She also claimed that he would play with flashlights. Yes, I read that. My theory is that he was sneaking out at night, or out that night. He was 9 though. Sneaking out I guess. I don't know. I would probably put the last day I had contact with her if there was a question. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Like, that's the last good memory that they have. I'm not 100% certain on his guilt or innocence, but John always seems to come across well in interviews, softball. And I do agree. So far, so good. But it's just me talking over it now. First time I'm catching live. Hi, Rachel. Which explains a neighbor claiming they saw a blonde figure leaving the house. But Burke, hello? Oh my God. Burke was a brunette. My thought is if John did it or knows Burke or Patsy did it, why would he be pushing so hard to get the DNA tested? Wouldn't he just want to disappear into the sunset? So, what if he does know and there is no chance of getting the DNA tested and he knows that? Just a thought. Not my thought. You know what? The name of my channel should be Devil's Advocate. Was asked why there was no divorce in his family, and he said no money. Majority of the time, the couple split up when they lose a child. Yeah, Netflix doc was so one-sided. Yes, it was. We lost our first daughter at 17. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Our 9-year-old daughter knows she has an older sister in heaven, and it does make us sad during that year that she's not with us. Yeah, I can't even imagine what that feels like. I am so sorry.
We fortunately, what really got us up off the floor was the realization we have 3 other children now that need us desperately to be strong. They're hurt, they're crushed, they've lost. At their age, they shouldn't have to deal with the loss and death of a family member.
If I
Do
can
you feel
get
like you're
there.
still in shock? Or do you feel like
You
have a
don't
good-
get over the murder, the loss of a child. You move beyond it.
Did you ever give yourself time to have a pity party? Because if anyone deserves a pity party.
You do, once in a while, yeah. Well, what was interesting was sometimes I'd be down, Patsy would be up, and we sort of could offset each other.
We'll get
Teresa, I've also thought, what if he does know who it is, but he can't be the one to say it because they may have something on him? So maybe he's like, we got to catch them,
into, I think, why they kind of looked at you guys as a whole.
Mountain, thank
But
you.
even in looking
Did
at the
anyone ever
family,
look
I
into
do
John
feel like at
Ramsey?
least initially,
Oh my God.
Patsy bore.
No, but you want to know who he did date? He was dating the mother of Natalie Holloway. My mother-in-law told me that. She's like, "Did you know that?" And I was like, "No." And it's true. I looked it up.
For the brunt of that.
She did.
And for like a long
time.
time, I even watched something they did on Netflix a while ago called The Casting JonBenét. And there's like a line in there where the guy was like, oh, I bet she was probably a horrible bitch of a mother.
No, she was a wonderful mother,
And I don't know,
amazing mother.
why do you think they latched onto her so much? When I know that there was, if people want to have questions about what happened in the home, why is it her that everyone became fixated on?
Patsy was a very strong woman. Maybe didn't come across so good on television, I was told by people. But she was a wonderful mother. She's a wonderful stepmother. And I never heard her say anything negative about anybody. She's just a good person. And so for her to take the brunt of that assault is just so unfair.
The one thing that I try to put myself in the place of with these guys is Elizabeth Smart. Elizabeth Smart is taken from her house in the middle of the night, and the media and the public just completely go after the parents and called them guilty, called them murderers, called them all of these things, and they legitimately had nothing to do with it. And that, I guess that's where I try to sit in my heart, until we know truly what happened. We can't do too much, or we can't say too much about the parents, and that's got to be hard. Imagine if Patsy Ramsey, right? She truly has nothing to do with this, and she ends up dying, and the whole world thinks that she was the one to blame for the death of her daughter. It sounds so awful to me, and I think it's just I don't want to believe that they're capable of doing that. I want to believe that it was an intruder or something else, but that's the thing with the Smart family. That Gary video is the one I watched. It's intriguing. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it.
We lost JonBenét. She got very focused on Burke. I mean, that was our goal, was try to give him as normal a childhood as we could possibly give him.
That was one of the things. Sorry if this is annoying, but I'm just going to do this. So I've asked my grandmother, how did you get through that period of time after losing 2 children? And she said, I realized that I had other children that I needed to live for. And that is, I can't even imagine. I really believe Burke snuck out, back in, threatened to tell on him. Oh, that's a good theory. I don't think anyone wants to believe that a parent could do such things to a child. And right. And that's why, like, in my heart, if we don't truly have evidence, like, I just, because there are people out there who do it and we have the evidence that they've done it. As a mom, I can't wrap my mind around the idea of Patsy doing those horrible things. And that's where I sit, right? I'm a mother who loves my children, and it doesn't compute. The violence was personal. I do agree with that.
Amidst all this chaos that was going around us, we were afraid. Somebody had attacked our family. We don't know who it was. And we were frightened.
So if you read the true autopsy, we don't know which came first. What they believe is that she was alive because there was evidence of her trying to release the garrote, and then the blow to the head, there wasn't a lot of blood. So some people think that it was after the strangulation. Some people think it was before. The autopsy, the one that I read, states that congrats on 100 live viewers. Oh my God. Hi, don't tell me those things. High anxiety. They don't know which one came first. So what if Burke mentioning he was downstairs on the podcast made John nervous, and now he has to throw the scent off the trail again?
Quite frankly. And one of the challenges was we wanted to keep Burke out of
Sometimes we'll do anything to protect our kids,
out of video and pictures so that people would know what he looked like. And so how do we get him we were living with friends when we were in Boulder, so he could finish his school year. How do we get him to school without being photographed?
Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat. I don't think the John Ramsey we see in interviews is the real John Ramsey. Yeah, I got to tell you, he is, so far, and from what I've seen, he's a likable guy. He comes off as a genuine, likable guy. So, yeah, I don't know. But I haven't met him, so I don't know. Losing a child with public scrutiny has to be crushing. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. You're already going through the level of losing a child. Now imagine doing that in the eyes of the public, especially if you had nothing to do with it. Oh my God. It's hard not to place blame, but having the entire world blame you is unfathomable. Unfathomable, yes. You can hear my dog barking.
And it became a project, and the way it was diversion from grieving. We would send out a decoy car. Burke would be in another car on the floor in the back seat.
Just to go to school?
Yeah, to go to school.
Ugh.
And we'd get him to school.
And I do want to say, for some of the people who are saying, like, oh, Burke's a weird dude, or Burke, whatever. Imagine being 9. Your sister dies unexpectedly in your house. You go to the grocery store. Your family is plastered on every single tabloid under the sun. You see tabloids with your face on it, claiming that you were the one who killed your sister, and now your parents are trying to keep you out of the spotlight. Like, imagine what that does to a 9-year-old brain.
Unphotographed.
Oh, he doesn't feel genuine?
What were the
I don't
kids
know.
at
He
school
feels
like?
like it to me.
Well, the kids are wonderful. And
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker,
And,
though. I don't
Like,
know.
that's the first time I've ever heard that. Normally, school-age kids are awful.
Well, I say that, from my perspective, they seem like they really were great.
Did you guys have any moments with him where you're asking, I think about, like, kids, like, what are the things that the parents don't know? Like, what's happening?
No. You know your children.
Well, and I'm not even necessarily talking about like him doing something, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like, they hang out together. They have the same group of friends. Like, was there someone that maybe she didn't tell mom and dad about, but she's going to tell her brother about, or her brother? Like, did you guys
Yeah.
have any of those like moments with Burke to be like help us figure this out?
No, because we really just wanted him to be separated from it, from the chaos we wanted him to be normal. And that was very difficult because being followed around by the media and going through the grocery store line and seeing your sister's picture on the front of the tabloid, it was difficult to give him a normal
Yeah.
life.
Do you
I can
think he
imagine.
might still know something that he like
No.
doesn't even know he knows?
No. Burke's a very solid person, despite all. And went to college, graduated, had a good job.
Also, too,
percent.
right? His parents protected. Let's say, obviously the most popular theory is the fact that Burke had something to do with this. Now there is brand new to your channel. Excited to catch you live. Hi, thank you. So obviously these guys, all the evidence has cleared them so far. Now Burke, as an adult, goes to college. He goes to school. He tries to go to a job. Burke Ramsey is probably in the true crime community one of the most notable names. He can't go anywhere without probably somebody side-eyeing him or wanting to ask questions or continuing to talk about that. And if he truly has nothing to do with that or with the crime, like imagine what that life is to lead. I've known about this case since it happened. I grew up. Oh, I just learned John. Oh, 5 minutes from there. Really?
Well thought of by his employers and very, very disciplined by his used cars. And, he's a good adult. And he was a good son. If he knew anything, it would
Yes.
not be
Thank
something
you to
he would
everyone.
thought
I'm trying not
Is
to
important. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder if there's something in there, like, even, so I know in the Dr. Phil, one of the things that came out was the idea that you used a flashlight to put him to sleep and that he came back down to play with a toy. Like, when he's down and people are sleeping, has he ever talked, like, did he get the sense that someone else was in the home? Did he hear anything? I don't know how long was he up?
No, we've never asked him that. I don't know. I didn't know, frankly, that he got up again.
This bothers me. And this is where it's like you got me and then, ooh, you lost me. Your son has a history of getting up and going downstairs and getting a snack or playing with his toys. And, the house is so big and the maids have said that they've gotten up in the middle of the night and they've gone down to, play or do whatever. And you never asked. I there's something about that seems just, I don't know. I can't imagine making it 30 years and not sitting down with my son and being like, did you hear anything? Did you see anything? Did you notice anything that I didn't notice? I don't know. I wonder if John and Burke have been able to enjoy Christmas. Ugh. Yeah, not without this looming. My company used to clean the Ramsey house in Boulder in 2017. It's huge and a maze for sure. You would have to know the house. Even if someone had broken in, would have needed to explore for hours. Interesting. Why wouldn't you ask? Exactly.
Her brother like, did you guys have any of those like moments with Burke to be like
I want to rewind this because I want to hear it.
Figure this out?
No, because we really just wanted him to be separated from it, from the chaos we wanted him to be normal. And that was very difficult because being followed around by the media and going through the grocery store line and seeing your sister's picture on the front of the tabloid, it was difficult to give him a normal life.
Do you think he might still know something that he like doesn't even know he knows?
No. Burke's a very solid person.
Ooh, what do you make?
Despite all.
Tell me.
And went to college, graduated, Had a good job ever since. Well thought of by his employers and very, very disciplined. Buys used cars and, not, he's a good adult. He was a good son. If he knew anything, it would not be something he would thought
Is important.
important.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder if there's something in there, like, even, so I know in the Dr. Phil, one of the things that came out was the idea that you used a flashlight to put him to sleep and that he came back down to play with a toy. Like, when he's down and people are sleeping, has he ever talked, like, did he get the sense that someone else was in the home? Did he hear anything? I don't know how long was he up?
No, we've never asked him that. I don't know.
Okay. 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 I wanted to hear that question. And she specifically said, he said, because he admitted, you guys have to remember, he admitted on the Dr. Phil episode that he in fact got up and snuck downstairs to go play. You know what, Chris? I noticed that too. He was a good son. I noticed that too. He's a good adult and he was a good son. I noticed that. Yep. Oddities and curiosities. I work with a lot of bones and things I find in nature. I'm going to need you to send me photos, please. Because I got a girlfriend that's like right up your alley. Interesting that after being told by a random note to communicate with anyone, Patsy calls 911 and invites a bunch of friends. No fear. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here's my issue with this. You have to know that John Ramsey watched Burke on Dr. Phil. There's no way that he hasn't watched that interview. And then Burke says, yeah, I snuck downstairs to go play with my toys. And you didn't pull your kid aside and be like, you were downstairs and you never told me that? I don't care if it's 20, 30, 50, 80, 1,000 years later. You don't ask him, you didn't hear anything? I don't like that, John.
I didn't know, frankly, that he got up again.
You didn't know? He said it. You know now. You knew when he got on Dr. Phil. What year did he get on Dr. Phil? What year was... Hold on. I'm going to Google that and see what that interview is. Hold on. Google. Also, just to let you guys know, I might have to stream tomorrow morning because we're never going to get through this. When was Burke Ramsey on Dr. Phil? Also, it's in all caps. Google's like, why are you screaming at me? 1999. No. He was older than that. What? When Burke Ramsey, this is the AI overview. When Burke Ramsey was on Dr. Phil was 1999 when he was 9 years old. AI, are you okay? Because he was 9 in 1996. What? Oh, he was on 3 years ago? 1942. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, if you know this and he says this and he admits to it, you don't pull him aside and just ask further, but you'll put out a Netflix documentary to like find DNA, but you don't ask your son if he heard anything while he was downstairs in his own home.
I'm not sure he did. Again, that's fiction. There's so much fiction out there.
Because it's just thrown out there.
It's not fiction. He said it. Oh my God. Oh my God. What is that? She literally just said to you, Burke was on Dr. Phil. He said he was downstairs. He said it. It's not fiction. He said... Sorry, I even forgot to change my screen. Hold on, I want you guys to... Hold on.
He's a good adult. He was a good son.
He was a good son.
If he knew anything, it would not be something he would thought
is important.
important.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder if there's something in there, like, Even so, I know in the Dr. Phil, one of the things that came out was the idea that you used a flashlight to put him to sleep, and that he came back down to play with a toy. Like when he's down and people are sleeping, has he ever talked? Like, did he get the sense that someone else was in the home? Did he hear anything? I don't know how long was he up?
No, we've never asked him that. I don't know. I didn't know, frankly, that he got up again.
Hmm.
I'm not sure he did. Again, that's fiction. There's so much fiction out there.
That's fiction. And this would have been a perfect time for her. And I'm not, she's in the moment, right? So I don't want to critique her, but being able to sit out here in hindsight in my basement, why wouldn't you say, well, John, it's not fiction because Burke admitted to it. So what do you have to say? It's not fiction. You have to follow up on those. This is giving me anxiety.
Just thrown out there. It's just Dr. Phil who says, you got up to play with the toy, and Burke says, yeah, I did. It was something that I wanted to put together. And then it kind of just like fades
Well,
away.
again, when we got home, JonBenét had fallen asleep.
But I know you and Burke
When?
came.
Put her to bed. Burke and I sat down
Wait,
and tried to put together
I'm sorry. Who put her to bed? Hold on a second. Who put her to bed?
a picture on the front of the tabloid. It was,
Even though he knows?
no, despite all. Might not be something he would thought.
Is important.
Thank you for being here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder if there's some idea that you used a flashlight to put him to sleep, and that he came back down to play with the sense
come
that
here.
someone else was in the home. Did he hear anything? I don't know how long was he up?
No, we've never asked him that.
Exactly,
I don't know.
Kristen.
I didn't know, frankly, that he got up again.
Hmm.
I'm not sure he did. Again, that's fiction.
Wrench, this is only my second live stream, so this is a lot of people.
There's so much fiction out there.
Because it's just thrown out there. It's just Dr. Phil who says, you got up to play with the toy,
Yes.
and Burke says, yeah, I did. It was something that I wanted to put together. And then it kind of just like fades
Well,
away.
again,
is insane.
when we got home, JonBenét had fallen asleep.
But I know you and Burke
I
came.
put her to bed. Burke and I sat down and tried to put together.
Okay, now this is another thing because I do this in my video. Who put JonBenét to bed? Patsy will tell you that JonBenét fell asleep in the car. They take her upstairs. John brought her upstairs. Patsy changed her, tucked her into bed. John will tell you that he tucked her into bed and then went downstairs to read him a book. And then Detective Linda Arndt will tell you that John told her that he took her up to bed, tucked her in, and then he read JonBenét a book. And then there's another article that states that, or I'm sorry, not another article. There's another interview that I saw with John flat out saying from his own mouth that he took JonBenét up to bed and then went to play with Burke and his toys and put his new toys together. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pike.
One of his little toys for a little while, just because he wanted to.
Okay, here we are.
And then he went off to bed.
You're saying like that whatever Dr. Phil said and Burke said on the show, he didn't come back down?
I didn't know that he came back down if he did.
Does
He
stuff
may
like
have-
that make you want to be like, oh my gosh, maybe there's something like.
Then why
maybe
wouldn't
there's
you
something he knows?
ask?
Burke would have said something if something was weird, but
Okay.
he may have
You don't-
misunderstood the question
Sure.
too. That,
Do you think Burke regrets doing it?
well, probably. But the things that were interpreted
You don't ask?
by the internet crowd, well, he's
Welcome,
smiling.
all new friends.
Burke talks with
Hi.
a smile.
Yeah.
Just the way he is. You ask him, what time it is, he'll smile.
Yeah, they lit him up after that.
I know it. And it was very unfair.
Do you think there's like one thing that those people who will never believe you like hone in on, or like one thing you're like, man, if we would have done this thing
Interesting,
Well-
Jeffrey.
I don't know if there's one thing, but, we were portrayed as
About protecting their son.
very rich people. We didn't consider ourselves rich. We'd built a little computer business, sold our interest to Lockheed, and
I mean, for like a pretty penny though.
but I got, that was more,
Okay. We didn't consider ourselves rich. I had a little computer company. We sold it to Lockheed. Sir, you had access to private planes. I believe, which is so funny to me because they said that in his documentary that he didn't even have planes, but then I was able to look it up and they said that he had like a hangar where he was able, the grand jury wanted to see where he was able to put like 2 of his private planes, I believe is what I read. We weren't rich. John has tried to distance himself from putting her to bed. Yeah, he's also trying to distance himself from his money. What? Detectives and lawyer. Right, you had $100,000 bonus. 2 people, there could be 2 people working in your house and they don't even make that a year and you had that for your bonus? Right. Oh, that's a good point. Well, Jeffrey, the police must have asked Burke. You're assuming that they did their job at this point.
More money than I ever thought I'd have in my life, you know. But we didn't, I still was working, still figured I needed to have a paycheck coming in. And
yeah, because you
but
lived
we
a
were
rich
portrayed as I was
lifestyle.
president of
You had multiple homes. You, what?
a company that had done $1 billion in revenue. Well, we were a distributor, we're like a grocery store. You got to sell a lot of milk and eggs to make a little bit of money. And that was the kind of business we're in. So in our industry, that was.
This is me frustrated and poor. What are you talking about? Oh, Gianni, I knew that. We talked about that earlier.
Business, but that was publicized a few weeks before JonBenét was murdered in the local paper.
Yeah, and that was in the 90s.
But they perceived, therefore, I must be.
I believe that $118K bonus would be like $300,000 now. Close to it.
A billionaire. Well, that wasn't true. I was an employee of Lockheed.
No, but in the 90s, you were a millionaire. What?
But people don't like rich people. And we were portrayed as super rich.
People don't
like rich people. And we were portrayed as.
Nobody cares if you're rich. What? People don't like rich people. That's not true. That's not true. I don't dislike rich people. I dislike anybody who's a dick. It has nothing to... What? This interview is insane. Yeah.
Super rich, callous. Everybody knows rich people don't love their children kind of people. I think. I don't know. And then we got into this child beauty thing, which Patsy and JonBenét had fun with it. And Patsy's philosophy with our kids was let them try anything they want to try. Patsy, when JonBenét was...
Thank you, Holly.
She's been maybe 4, I guess, was diagnosed, or maybe 3 or 4, diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 4, which has about a 5-year life expectancy, and that's it. And Patsy was so distraught. She'd say, God, why did you give me these beautiful children if you're not going to let me be here to raise them? But she was a fighter, and she beat it. She was in remission. For her, it was a huge gift that she could now perhaps look forward to being with her children when they go to college, get married, and have
that's a good point.
Her grandkids. But I think deep down she knew that may not happen.
Yeah.
And so she tried to cram a lot of mother-daughter stuff into their lives together. She was a natural. She loved...
I got to tell you, Patsy looks like she knew how to spend. Rich parents are usually treated better in these cases than poor parents. Imagine if the McCanns weren't doctors. That'll be my next case because I don't know too much about it, so I'm going to get into that. But I have to say, I personally would never make the decision to put my daughter in pageantry. That is not, even if she did want to do that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that's something that I would want to do. I am behind now. No, my new favorite crimes. I've gotten myself into this niche, Kimberly. Sometimes I want to talk about other stuff, but I do love it. You're doing awesome. Proud of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. But pageantry is not something I would pick for my daughter. My daughter loves dance, and some of those outfits, I'm like, nay, I don't think so. But that's just... I do understand why Patsy put her daughter in pageants. She was a pageant queen. She wanted her daughter to be a pageant queen. Like, I totally understand. What I don't understand is why people only come or only came at the Ramseys during this time, and they're like, they subjected her to this and they did this to her. And it's like, well, pageantry is a whole. Like, you have to go, if you're going to go hard at the Ramseys, like, you have to go hard at all of these parents then. Like, you can't just single them. Whoa! Oh my God! Guys! Mountain! Wow! Okay. Mountain gifted 5 memberships, opinionated memberships. Oh my God. Mountain, thank you. You know what? I need buttons. I need buttons. Yay. Why don't I have alerts? Where are my alerts? Do I not get cool alerts? Why? Oh my God. Who received these? Former Reply Girl, Serena G, Jessica Carranza, Missy D, Vanessa Limensa. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my God. Well, now that I'm rich, like John Ramsey, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is incredible, you guys. We have memberships. I forgot what level Opinionators is. My brain is exploding. Hello, Conscious Machine. Hello. And that was all in 1996, right? Right. Oh my God. Mountain, thank you for all those memberships, guys. Can we get a little round of applause or something in the chat? You know what I need is like a little soundboard so I could be like, woo! I need something like a little R2D2 sound or something. I do not let her out of my sight because of all the oh God, please. I get ready. I'll be in a Target parking lot, like plugging my daughter into her car seat with one fist. One fist ready.
Performing.
She's a stunner, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way she was. And she'd put on little skits at home and make us interrupt our dinner and watch the skit that she and her friends put on.
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell you, I have a little girl in my neighborhood that's exactly like this. They will, thank you, Holly. Yes, Munchausen, I have heard of that as far as like this case goes. Pageantry at the time wasn't a big deal, though. Oh my God, so many people. Because the lack of social media, the way people treated JonBenét was not okay. The media treatment of JonBenét was absolutely disgusting. I don't know where this interview is being held. That's a good point. You need to hire a mod. I have a mod. My mod is Mr. Pike. Mr. Pike is, I do have a couple of mods. We have 2 daughters and a son for and Under the World is Crazy. Am I using Streamlabs? I'm using OBS. I need to figure out how to do all of these things. I don't know. I am new to this, so bear with me. Maybe I'll have like I want a confetti cannon. Mr. Pike, you and I are going to have to do some work because I want to get me a confetti cannon. But yes, all of you guys who got memberships, thank you to Mountain. Thank you so much. Oh, so exciting. And you guys will be able to get to the new perks. I got to figure out what those are because I forgot. I made membership tiers and then didn't think anyone would sign up. So here we are.
So that was her personality. And they had fun with it, but it wasn't an obsession.
Yeah.
And of course, the media presented it as Patsy was this dominant mother who was living vicariously through her daughter, forcing him to do this stuff. That was nonsense. JonBenét had fun with it and loved it.
Well, I have
If
alerts,
people
but they're not
say
coming
that
up.
you profited off of it, what's your response
I'm
to
going to have to
them?
figure that out.
You're joking.
Oh, wait.
Nonsense. JonBenét had fun with it and loved it.
If people say that you profited
Yeah,
off
some
of it,
kids
what's
are
your
just
response to them?
performers. They enjoy
You're
doing
joking.
it.
I lost my job.
Oh, Kimberly, I don't
I
give
was
that
not
stuff out.
employable.
I try to be
had-
like super
I
private.
had a
got kids.
company tell me, look,
Sorry.
we'd like you to come work for us, but we can't afford to have our good name on the front of the National Enquirer.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you.
So we can't hire you. I was unemployed for, gosh, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And I couldn't get a job. Lockheed was wonderful to me at the time. At this time, they were couldn't have
The
been
Santa Claus
more
guy.
wonderful to me during the time I was still working for them. But they were in the process. They had acquired our company to try to diversify their business model. And after a couple of years, they decided, we can't do it. We don't think that way. We're, military, industrial, government contractor. We don't know how to deal in the consumer world. And so they were in the process of selling us and 4 or 5 other companies they'd bought to try to change their model. And they engaged a conversation, I guess, with GE, and GE was going to buy us, it looked like. And I'm sure, and I don't fault them. They
No,
had
it's
a
okay,
great
Kimberly. I
company,
totally
but this
understand.
Ramsey guy is
A lot of baggage.
a baggage. It's big baggage. This isn't going to work. And I didn't work for another, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years because I couldn't get a job. We were scraping by, basically, selling assets, selling our home, just trying to create an income that way. But no, how could I have profited from this? This is
You know what's interesting? Is some people have brought this up. We don't know the state of their finances, right? And he said he can't get a job. And then other people have said, have you ever looked into the fact that there might be life insurance on JonBenét? Is that possible? Do we know if there was a life insurance policy? I don't know. I have a theory that ties into the new theory about Hit for Hire and Fleet White. It goes, well, let's hear it. Also, I need evidence. If you guys are going to put theories, I don't mind if you put theories, but we can stay theories all day. And if we're going to go with theories, I'm going to go with the one that JonBenét is actually Katy Perry. But yeah.
that's absurd.
I think people would just look at the books.
They did write a
would
book.
Say, oh,
Well, the first book,
lawsuits.
we did get what do we call it, an advance, and that kept us going for a while.
That's true.
Financially.
Lifestyle like that is hard to maintain.
By the time I wrote the second book, the whole book market had changed, and the advances just weren't there. But I did that second book mostly.
So Jeffrey, I have to tell you that all of us in my house, we all have life insurance policies on us. And mostly because children have been lost in my family and children have been lost in my husband's family. And when you're going through that process, the last thing that you want to do is worry about how you're going to pay for a funeral or whatever. We have a family life insurance policy. I don't know if it was like to take just a life insurance out on their like one child, but I know that some families as a whole, like ours, we all have, if anything happens to any one of us, and my husband works and I don't, but I do this, but the goal was to just make sure that if anything happens to any one of us, we can just go through that process and be like, just be able to grieve and go through that at the time. So I don't know. I mean, some people, we do, but we have also life insurance policies on us. Just so that if anything happened, you're just kind of prepared for that moment. Cause the last thing you want to do is be like, oh, I've lost my child and now I have to financially like figure out all these other things. And it just like completely takes that off the table. I don't know. Is that weird? Should I not have told that to the internet? Money can never have enough. Nah, it doesn't make sense. It's not as wild as her being Katy Perry. Said she was poor when she was growing up. She's John's daughter, obviously, with that definition of rich. Yeah, funerals are expensive.
To help people, because I'd gone through this trauma of course, the loss of a child. My faith, was really challenged. How could God
It
let
is a
this
fun
happen
theory.
to a child? And the book I wrote was really, I felt very compelled to try to help people.
$12K to start.
The journey I went through wasn't to make money at all.
A lot has had to have changed over 30 years. Like when you think about like you're in it day one in the house, you think it's a kidnapping. How do you think differently now about the ransom note than you did day one.
Bill McReynolds was they had nothing tying him to that case. Also, he was like he didn't seem like a very agile man. Like one that I don't know. I don't foresee him getting in and out of like the windows. I don't know. And to have to ask people, yeah, you can't even mourn properly.
Like at least I have to imagine, like if it were me, I imagine that I've like picked this thing apart 10 ways to Sunday.
It didn't make any sense, first of all.
I know in some of the interviews they bring up for Patsy that it goes back to the note, and I think one of the reasons they keep those who believe she wrote it perpetuate the idea that she wrote it is because it seems like it's not a clear answer or direction of like how much of the note she saw. Because like initially she's, it's like your daughter, we have your daughter, and then
I'm going to have to interject. The reason that people think that she wrote it is because it matches her handwriting. What?
goes up and looks, but then she talks about later looking out the window and seeing that it's a marked car and being concerned. And people will say, "Oh, how did you know that?"
I've thought about that.
That was later on the note.
What if it actually
people
is
will say, "Oh, when she calls 911, how
I
does
don't
she
know
know
anything
how
about the
signed
whites
if she only saw the
right now.
first page?" 30 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It was chaos that morning, and I really thought I could get JonBenét back. I really did. We'd arranged. I don't have $118,000 laying around, but a friend of mine who was my banker got my ATM limit on my Visa card jacked up. And I gave that card to
I don't think Fleet
a friend, I don't know who it
worked
was,
with
somebody
him.
was there. I said, go get the money. And they came back and didn't get the money. And I was like, why didn't you get the money? Like, well, no, I don't need to do that yet. But anyway.
Why 118? That's something that everyone
that's a different version. Hold on.
I was like, why didn't a friend, I don't know who it was, somebody was there. I said, go get the money. And they came back and didn't get the money. And I was like, why didn't you get the money? Like, well, no, I don't need to do that yet.
I'm going to interject here because there is another interview or another article that stated that John could not have gotten the money without previously warning his bank because it was a large amount of money. Like he wasn't able to get it. So another friend had said, I'll go get the money. I got it. I'll go get the money. I'll get it for you. And they went out to go to the bank to go do that because they didn't, I guess, I don't know. I've never taken out $118,000 of a bank account because I've never had $118,000 in a bank account. So I don't think you can just take out large sums of money like that. And from what I understood from one of the articles was that somebody else was like, don't worry, I got it. And then they did come back with that. She couldn't be ruled out. Right. She's the only person who couldn't be ruled out. They phoned the police right away despite the warning of the letter. Why would you think the bank would let someone come and take 118 from your account? No. I think you're misunderstanding what I said. So John had said, no. John had said that he wouldn't have access to $118,000 because he needed to, it takes a little bit to get the money out. So the friend was like, I'll go take that money out of my account. The friend was going to do it for him. He knew John had it. You know what? I'm going to have to look that up. Also, for our new members, you guys get to join our Discord. So if I can find the article, I'll have to find the article where I read that. You know what? I should keep all of my research. Because I did, in fact, research this. Was the bank even open? That's a great point. It was a day after Christmas. Unless you have it in a safety deposit box, which I doubt. Right. Maybe the person took it out of their own account and then JR was to pay him back. I wasn't saying you. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
But anyway.
Why 118? That's something that everyone's obsessed with.
Yeah, it meant something to the killer. Um,
What do you think
Really?
it means? Like, I mean,
well,
again,
the only
Wow.
number that
Anthony, thank you.
correlates that I know of
Hey,
is
everyone. Welcome.
um,
Thank you for your support.
my bonus that year from Lockheed was 118,000, and it was paid in January.
mhm.
Now we're in December. It was on my pay stub every.
Did you have those somewhere in the house?
Oh yeah, I'm sure laying around somewhere.
Did they ever find them?
I don't know.
So
Somebody
it comes
was-
back to somebody who's like, so clear. I mean, clearly they know she's in the basement. They're not actually looking to get the money, but you think it was more of a message.
I think it was a mix.
Thank you, Chris.
I mean, why not 1 million? Why not 500? You know, why not a big number?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big number, but doable. And why 118? Why not 100? Why not?
You know, I got to tell you, my mother-in-law brought this up. It is my goal in 2025 to start an audio-only podcast, and I would like to have my mother-in-law on it. I truly believe that if I got her tested, she would test to be a genius. Like, not even joking, not being sarcastic. Like, she's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. And she had said that where they lived in Boulder, Colorado was actually like a college town. And she's like, what if it was somebody who was younger between the ages of 18 and 20, and $118,000 is a lot to them, right? And let's say he did leave one of his pay stubs out. They know that he would have quick access to this money, and that is a big number for like a transient person in the college community, or you know, a young college student who's, you know, just looking to pay off loans or whatever, and then it didn't go as planned. I would love to join as a member, but I don't see that anywhere to do that. But I am subscribed. Oh, well, thank you. No, any support is all support. I'm just letting you guys know that if you want to ever go into the Discord, I'll start putting my research in there. I'll save where I link like my sources. And then, you know what? Unless Mr. Pike, could you make that in the Discord where we have like a resources channel so I can just put all of my stuff in there, or maybe I can do it. I do have to say the Ramsey's house is it was pretty messy. Why audio only? Because I would like to have guests, and not all guests that I would have are comfortable being on camera. So I would like to, maybe I could do both. I don't know. Not everybody's comfortable having their face on camera. Wonder if a bank could handle it without a Brinks delivery, not a normal business day. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. I would not doubt he left pay stubs laying around. Yeah, I'm a mess. Like, I'm sure if you came into my basement, you could find, well, I don't get paid because I stayed home with my kids, but
200.
150.
It meant something to somebody.
People they just pick it apart.
Oh, I
yeah,
know
Rachel, it was
what
with the
happened.
golf club.
Crazy. It's like I was criticized for disturbing the crime scene when I found JonBenét. Oh my God, he removed the body. If you're a parent, what would you do?
I agree.
You'd pick up your child.
Yep.
I was relieved. I found her. Thank God. Took the tape off her mouth and tried to untie her wrists. I couldn't because it was tied so tightly. I didn't see the garrote. It was so deeply embedded in her throat.
Oh,
he
Kristen, I'll
disturbed
do
the
that.
crime
I'll write that
scene.
down right now.
That was wrong. It's like, that's laughable to even say something like that. Of course you would.
Wait, what did they say?
Pick up your child. 18, why not 100? Why not 200?
150.
It meant something to somebody.
People they just pick it apart.
Oh, I know
This
it.
is what
It's
happened.
crazy. It's like I was criticized for disturbing the crime scene when I found JonBenét. Oh my God, he removed the body.
I got to tell you, if I find my child, whether I think they're alive or not, I love audio. I'm at work with my headphones. Yay! You should be working though. Don't let me get you in trouble. If I find my child and they seem to be in a state of distress, whether they're alive or not, your parental instincts are going to kick in. You're going to go try to do whatever you can to save your baby. Your guests could just turn their camera off. Oh yeah, that's true. They could be, if you guys don't care if they're a disembodied head, like that's fine.
If you're a parent, what would
Thank
you
you,
do?
Mr. Pike.
You'd pick up your child.
Yeah,
I was hoping.
I agree.
was relieved. I found her. Thank God. took the tape off her mouth and tried to untie her wrists. I couldn't because they're tied so tightly. I didn't see
Or
the
any loved
throat.
one.
It
Yeah.
was so deeply embedded in her throat.
Yeah.
Oh, he disturbed the crime scene. That was wrong. It's like,
No, what was wrong was that a detective had asked him and Fleet White to go search the house. What was wrong was when the police got there at 6 a.m. and they couldn't get into that room, they didn't ask anybody who lived in the house to open the door. He wouldn't have been able to disturb a crime scene if the Boulder, Colorado Police Department did their job. Sorry.
that's laughable to even
Ooh,
say
listening.
something like
Thank you,
that.
Pina.
Of course you would.
And have you ever been back in?
The house? No.
Would you ever go back in?
No. We couldn't initially. Just wasn't even. A friend of ours helped us move, packed up all our stuff, and we moved to Atlanta, which was our home. That's where my family was. That's where Patsy's family was.
I wouldn't be able to go back to that house.
JonBenét was
There's no
buried
way.
there. My oldest daughter was buried there. So I was accused in the media of fleeing to
Thank
Atlanta.
you, Rich.
But
Yeah,
was
so
home.
that's something that people talk about is they say, oh, so I mean, day one, you know, they
Yes, Kim,
find
she
John
was.
Benet, and within the hour,
So about the snow, it depends on who you ask. Some people will tell you that there were no footprints and that there was snow. And then in their documentary, they actually have pictures of like the back of the house and there was no snow. There wasn't enough to put shoe prints in the snow. They needed a tainted crime scene. That's what a lot of people say.
John's on the phone saying, I've got to get to Atlanta. And people say it was for a business meeting. Like, what was that?
Well, that's not quite the way it was.
Yeah.
But there's so much misinformation out there.
Yeah.
It was
Why
hard
she
to
would
even
tell them to look. Yeah, I have no
combat
idea.
any of it. But Atlanta was our home.
Like washing
We had
hands,
a
right.
family cemetery plot.
Yeah.
That's where JonBenét was going to be buried. My oldest daughter was killed 4 years earlier in a car accident. She was
See, Anonymous 420, I agree they invited people to taint the crime scene to make it more complicated. I got to tell you, if you read Linda Arndt's original police report, Patsy was the one who made those phone calls. And the way that she describes Patsy throughout all, I think it's like 17 pages of that report, she is described as a distraught, grieving mother. So I don't know, because she's the one that made those phone calls. And I have to tell you, in times of crisis, I've called my friends. And I said this in my video. I call people who can be there for me when I can't be there for myself. I had that instance when something happened to my son at school. I had that when I had to take my daughter to the hospital and we were admitted for a week. You know, sometimes I call people because I know that I'm not going to be able to do it alone. It's possible that it was done by someone in the family. Was the attack? Yeah, you know, there were things about cigarette butts, and I haven't been able to find really anything further. What is wrong with the police? They thought it was smart to turn up in full view for a kidnapping. Did no one? You know what? Honestly, I gotta tell you. Does the house still exist? It does. It does. You can actually find it on like Zillow. Another channel brought up the fact that it was a random intruder. How would they have their phone number to call for the ransom? Yeah, I guess I would assume if they know who John worked for, that's a good point. But I mean, if they know who John worked for and they know what his bonus was, right? But that is a good point. Are you saying by design of the Ramseys? Wait, post-apocalypse. Are you saying? Oh. You're not talking to me. Somebody's post-apocalypse in here that I missed. There's a lot of people in the chat. At that point, it was still a kidnapping, so the officer probably believed that in the beginning, believing the child would turn up. True. I'm trying to read all of these. Had friends in high places, the DA or the police department that would have helped the scene to keep Burke from being taken away for accident. Oh, interesting. Patsy is all she did was write the ransom. Save her son from reading crime books. She was grieving, involved or not. She did not expect her to die. I just believed it was intentional. Maybe one person, but a whole family. Oh yeah, phone book. Phone books existed. You guys, we're aging ourselves.
Buried there. That was our focus, to get JonBenét buried, taken care
Just to
of.
let you guys
Boulder
know,
was
I got a
not our
20-minute
home.
warning, and then I
We
got
had
to
a
go
house
get my
there,
daughter.
had a job there, but it wasn't home.
You know what?
Home
I'll
was
make you a
Atlanta.
deal. I'll go live tomorrow morning, while she's in school, and then we'll maybe be able to finish this if I could ever shut up. So I'll keep this where it is, and then we'll go live tomorrow morning. We'll do a part 2 on this because I am having so much fun right now.
Is home, do you mean like you had a support system?
Yeah, and we lived there for 30 years.
When you made that, would you make the call? Because did you or you didn't make a call to
I
start
don't
working?
remember how that evolved. No, I didn't, actually. I'd asked one of the
Oh,
detectives.
interesting, Sharon, because I thought that was his Christmas bonus.
There was only one detective there that morning. Everybody else was on vacation. It was day after Christmas. But there were lots of detectives and police there. And I can't remember what I said, but like, I want to go home.
Oh, that's an interesting
And
theory.
he said, yeah, that's fine, go. And Lockheed sent one of their airplanes out, which was wonderful. And flew us back to Atlanta.
So,
And took one of little Burke's friends with him at the last
Bye,
minute.
thank you.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, he talks really highly of Lockheed every time. Like every time he brings up Lockheed, he's like, they're so great. They're so wonderful. They're so whatever. It's interesting.
Oh.
Thank
And
you.
Lockheed sent one of their
Bless.
airplanes out, which was wonderful. And flew us back to Atlanta.
So,
And took one of little Burke's friends with him at the last minute.
oh, really?
Yeah.
What friend came with him?
I can't remember his name, but it's one of his buddies. And the mom, they were at the airport seeing us off. And I forget how it came up, but whatever his name was, Taylor, can he come with us?
You're leaving. You're leaving to go to Atlanta right after your daughter passes away in your house tragically and unexpectedly. And you're like, oh, yeah, we brought one of Burke's friends with us. That's odd.
And they're like, I'm sure he could, but I don't know that his mother would
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
what are we like?
Jumped out
And
of
his
the.
mother's-
Oh, yes.
Yes,
The
that's
girl from the
great,
dance
wonderful.
studio.
Oh, wow.
So Burke and Patsy and I and this little friend are on this
At least that's how I understand it.
arcade plane that flew us
Interesting.
back to Atlanta. And that's as far as our planning had gotten. There was no planning. You're in shock. When we left the house that morning after we found JonBenét and never went back in that home, we were staying with friends. Sharon took
Peanut,
us
great
in,
point.
and a lot of our friends were there to support us.
Yeah.
And the police came
Well, in that case, I also think Lockheed.
several
They're great.
times, and we sat and talked to them. And when it started to not go so well, because we trusted the police, we think, my God, they're our saviors. We got to.
I do have to say they did do what they needed to do in the beginning. They did give them an interview. They did give them all the DNA samples. They gave them 5 handwriting samples in the beginning. And then as their lawyers came in, they did start to pull away, which I have to say, if somebody was looking at me and suspecting me of murdering my daughter and I did not do it, I would also probably pull away. I have to be honest with you. Yet that morning they were headed to Michigan, maybe just to keep them occupied. Has anyone else noticed signs of duping delight? What's that? I don't know what that is.
This is in their hands, and we trust them. And I had gotten a call from one of the fellows I worked with. He said, I got a call from inside the system. Get the best defense attorney he can get his hands on because they think he killed his daughter. This was like the next day. And I was like, unbelievable. So anyway, the police would come to the house.
Yeah, that's why. So Jeffrey, that's why Patsy was up so early, was because they were going to get on a plane and they were going to go to their house in Michigan. I didn't know anything about a Disney cruise after that, but I do know that they were going to go to Michigan. I think they left to ATL to make sure police couldn't get any evidence off Burke. Interesting. Duping delight is a positive feeling that can occur when someone successfully deceives or cheats another person. It can happen before, during, after a lie. Interesting. It depends on the company. I've seen bonuses all year long. I'm a CPA and deal with it. Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
we talked to them as much as they wanted. They'd ask questions, and we did the best to answer them. And then they said, one of our friends that was there, bringing food and help, comforting stuff, was a former attorney with the district attorney's office. And he was kind of observing things, you know. And
That's Mike.
Mike, yeah. And the police were saying, well, we need you to come down to the station. Please come here. We can't. We're secure here. We're safe. Patsy's sedated in bed. She's not capable of getting dressed and going down to the station. You come here, please. Oh, no, we need you to come to the station. Well, why? And this, I think, was Linda Art, actually, now that I think about it. And then Mike stepped in and said, time out. Because he knew the police department. He'd worked with me before. And he said, we'll get back to you. We're not coming down to the station today. We'll get back to you. And the next day, and I'd gotten that call, which I hadn't told anybody about.
So he was also a Cub Scout. So I don't find it odd that he had a Swiss Army knife. My uncle, who's only 3.5 years older than me, had like knives and stuff. And also, I grew up fishing with my grandfather, so I probably had a knife at an age that I should not have had a knife. But I had a fillet. I got a fillet knife for my 11th birthday because I was being taught how to fillet my own fish. So, but also that he was a Boy Scout. I don't find that to be odd. Oh, Chris Watts, the porch interview. Bleh.
That I needed to get a defense attorney because the police thought I killed my daughter. This is the day after. They hadn't even looked at evidence or looked at our family history or anything. It was just like, it had to be the father. It's always the evil father.
Were they thinking it was you?
Mm-hmm.
So
this was Linda Art. I'm sure that.
So Linda thought it was you, and then
Yeah.
this idea of Patsy comes from someone else?
Apparently.
Okay.
And so our focus was to get JonBenét buried properly in our family cemetery in Atlanta, get back to our family for support.
Now you guys have to remember too, they had buried JonBenét, I believe, next to his other daughter that died in a car accident.
And we did that within days of this happening. And what we learned, this was part of what made us really mistrust the police.
Yeah, I have to say there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, but, you know, they have been ruled out by the police. And Laura, I got to tell you, if they truly had nothing to do with this, and this is what brings me back to the Smart family, Elizabeth Smart, they had absolutely nothing to do with it. And everybody thought that they did. That's got to be awful.
We went back to Boulder to get Burke back in school after we buried JonBenét and to help the police. You know, and our attorneys, who Mike had brought in on his own, he had said, John, would you allow me to do some things here that were necessary? When we did this timeout, we're not coming to the station. I said,
10-minute
yes,
warning for me.
absolutely.
Just letting
So
you
the
guys
next
know.
day he's introducing me to my attorney. One attorney can't represent both parties. So Patsy had to have an attorney.
We had these crime junkie rules, and one of ours is always get a lawyer. So, like, first of all, I would have done that day one.
Yeah, and,
Immediately.
you know,
Our other is we always say, like, you don't know everyone inside and out 100%.
yeah, that's true.
But did you ever question, like, does she know something? Did you guys ever have a moment in private where you're like, or never, ever?
Never, ever. Patsy had survived stage 4 ovarian cancer, was given the gift of life again for a while, which she was so thankful for. And see, originally, our attorney said, look, this is nuts that you're even looked at as suspects, but this will get resolved in a couple months.
So when John found her at 1 p. Sit up. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. And hydrate. I am hydrating. So when John found her, it was 1 p.m. And I know she was in rigor mortis, which would have told them that the time of death was between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Now, which they leave out the pineapple in the original or in the documentary that he was in, if you go into the autopsy when they find the pineapple, it was undigested. So that suggests that she died at least 2 hours before, or I'm sorry, she ate at least 2 hours before she passed away. And if you go into the original autopsy, they'll tell you that it was around 1 p.m. is what they think. I saw a video that the cop who looked in the basement and John reported the window in the basement was broken but not open. When you look at the photo taken by the police, is it open? Yes, I believe it was open. But there was also glass on the floor. There was like chunks of glass on the floor and I believe on top of that suitcase. No attorney would say that. I think they said between 10:30 and 1:30. Yeah, based on the pineapple.
You know, if you hire a heart surgeon, you better hire a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing about if Burke did it on accident, then why not just report it as that? Like, that's what I don't understand. They're not going to put Burke in prison if he accidentally, like, hit her with a flashlight. You know what I mean? Why go to the extra lengths of a garrote and a ransom note and sexually assaulting her? That's where it all doesn't make sense to me.
It's going to be expensive, but it's only going to last a couple of months.
Yeah.
And it lasted about 3 years. And we got to the point where we said, we're out of money. We can't keep paying. And they said, it doesn't matter. We're committed to getting this horrible wrong corrected. And so they worked on our behalf for several years for no
Yeah, I
charge.
can't imagine what that cost.
But we were out of money. Didn't matter.
When was that? Like, how long did it take to like burn through it?
A couple of years, probably. Yeah, probably.
What did they think about you guys doing CNN?
Bye, Chris. Thank you.
Oh, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have done that.
Was that like did they advise against it? Did they think at the time?
They strictly advised. Well, we never asked them. We were back in Atlanta for the funeral. Some of our Boulder friends were there. They say, "Oh my God, the media's going crazy. You've got to show them that you're normal people, and Boulder's a wonderful place." They're really focused on making Boulder.
Well, that's the thing about crime in general, Many Moons. Like the first people that you have to rule out in a crime are the people closest, A, to the victim, and B, the last people to see them alive, which would be all of the Ramseys. I forgot we saw John or someone, his body type fit through the small window. The investigator was skinny and his shoulders were close. So I feel like Lou Smith had the same body type.
Not suffer a reputational damage, nuts, but that was their focus.
That's weird though, right?
Oh, totally weird.
What was their goal? Like to make Boulder look safe? Like, I don't think it makes Boulder look good because there's...
Yeah, Kim,
you
you're
guys
not
are
the
saying
only
there's
one
a
with that.
madman in Boulder.
There's a lot of other
Yeah.
people with that theory as well.
And of course, Boulder was like the authorities, the mayor.
Well, John admitted to breaking the window months before because he claimed that he locked his keys in the house. They never went past them. Yes, there were remarks that the window had been broken for a while. Yes, it had been broken because he said that he thought he fixed it, but he actually didn't.
Said, "Oh, nothing to worry about. There's no killer out there," because she'd been told by the police that us parents, we know it's the parents, we just got to prove it. And it was weird. It was weird, but we shouldn't have been doing an interview like that.
What did
Agreed.
your lawyers say when they because did they just see you on TV one day? Because I think that's the thing, people would be like, I don't understand. Like, John's a smart guy. He's consulting his lawyers for
They
everything.
should have
How
never
does
done
his
that
lawyers not know
interview.
he's going on
And
CNN?
John should have never in a million years was the window open or closed? I believe the window was open. John should have never let Patsy get on TV in the state that she was in. as her husband and was like, should have been like, you are in no state to be in front of a camera that is going to be on national news.
At that time, we'd been introduced to our lawyers, but we then immediately flew back to Atlanta for JonBenét's funeral. Had not met with our lawyers.
Oh, okay.
It was a horrible mistake for several reasons. One, we were in no shape to do an interview. There's no point in doing an interview other than to satisfy our friends who are pressuring us to show us.
Why did they want you on TV so bad? Like that's a part that never made sense.
Well,
Satisfy our
they
friends.
were concerned that the media was instantly piling on us as the killers, and that was horribly wrong, and you need to show yourself and defend yourself.
Why are your friends like? I mean, I appreciate that they care for you, but it's just like.
Well, they don't know. They weren't any more expert at it than we were.
No, but also my child just died. Don't pressure me into doing anything. As a friend, your job is to just to support the decisions that we're making. Not you and Patsy, who is obviously on some sort of substance, need to get on CNN. What? Exactly, Teresa. He should have been protecting his wife. I know they were both grieving, but geez, yeah. I watched some professional body language expert who watched the Dr. Phil interview, thought Burke did it and covered it up with the ransom letter, then could not take it back. Interesting.
And so we just reluctantly agreed to do it. But in retrospect, that's shouldn't have happened. And our attorneys, well, in fact, from that point on, our attorney said, no, we are not going to respond to the media accusations. You're not going to respond to them. We're going to defend you. In fact, they said, look, we will guarantee you one thing.
Oh,
money back
there's
guarantee.
My alarm.
We'll destroy them.
To make sure I don't forget my kids.
Okay.
All right, guys, listen, I'm going to leave this exactly where it is. I have a little bit of time. Tomorrow's my kids' last day at school before they get off for Christmas break. I am definitely going to try to go live on Christmas break. It'll probably have to be on Sundays because I'll need somebody to be home with me, but we'll see. Today was amazing, you guys. Today, the fact that I can get on here and you guys are willing to just come and talk and chit chat and bring your drinks and hang out with me is so great. Again, thank you guys for all the love and support. And thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Mr. Pike, as always, best mod. So I'll be here, what time? 10 a.m. Eastern. And we'll just watch the rest of this. I will not look made up. I'm not going to do my hair and makeup. I'm just going to show up, and I'm going to be here tomorrow. So you guys are awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or do whatever you do. And then you guys can watch all my videos when I'm not here. And I love you. Okay, bye. Bye.